Comment down below what country and/or city you're watching from and subscribe if you enjoy videos like this daily. Also, check out my other channel link in bio if you like drama revenge narratives. You won't regret it. I've always believed that success is the best revenge. After graduating from law school and building my practice from scratch, I rewarded myself with my dream car, a bright yellow Lamborghini Aventador. Some might call it flashy, but to me, it represented every case I won, every late night I pulled, and every sacrifice I made to become one of the most respected attorneys in Pinehurst Heights. My name is Devin Jackson, and I moved into Silverbrook Estates about 2 years ago. It's one of those upscale neighborhoods with manicured lawns, community pools, and of course a homeowners association that thinks of the Supreme Court, Congress, and local police rolled into one. The houses cost a fortune, but the location was perfect, just 15 minutes from my firm's office downtown. From the moment the moving truck pulled up, I could feel the eyes watching me. Not everyone, mind you. Most neighbors were welcoming, bringing over cookies and offering recommendations for local restaurants. But there was one neighbor who seemed to take personal offense to my existence from day one. Patricia Fleming. Patricia, or Patty, as she insisted everyone call her, though I made it a point to always use her full name, was a self-appointed neighborhood watchdog and HOA board president for the past decade. A woman in her 60s with an expensive blonde dye job that couldn't hide her gray roots. She wore designer tracksuits like they were formal attire and carried her small yapping Pomeranian everywhere she went. "You know," she said to me one day, about a week after I moved in, cornering me as I collected my mail, "we usually maintain a certain aesthetic in Silverbrook." Her eyes drifted meaningfully to my suit, then to my car in the driveway. "I'm aware," I replied with my most professional smile. "The one I reserve for difficult clients and opposing counsel who've said something slightly racist, but not quite actionable. That's why I purchased here. Beautiful neighborhood." Patricia's lips tightened into what I'm sure she thought was a smile. "Well, it's just that some of the neighbors have expressed concerns about your vehicle. The color is rather loud, don't you think? Perhaps something more subdued would better fit in." I knew exactly what she meant by fit in. I dealt with people like Patricia my entire life. People who couldn't outright say what they meant because it would expose their prejudice, so they focused on proxies like my car's color or my music's volume. "The color is factory standard," I said calmly. "And as I'm sure you know, Patricia, the HOA bylaws regulate the color of houses, not vehicles. Article 7, Section 3, if memory serves. I've read through them thoroughly." Her face twitched. Nothing irritates people like Patricia more than discovering you know the rules better than they do. "Well, I'll be bringing it up at the next meeting regardless. We may need to amend the bylaws." I smiled again. "You're welcome to try. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have briefs to review." I turned and walked away, her indignant huffs following me up the driveway. What Patricia didn't know was that I specialized in property law with a particular focus on HOA overreach. In fact, I'd taken several HOAs to court over discriminatory practices. It wasn't my main source of income, but it was definitely my passion project. I'd read Silverbrook's bylaws cover to cover before purchasing, identifying several questionable provisions that wouldn't hold up in court. Over the next several months, Patricia launched what can only be described as a passive-aggressive campaign against me. Anonymous complaints about my trash bins being visible from the street. They weren't. Citations for lawn maintenance. My gardener came weekly. Noise complaints about parties I never threw. Each time I responded with calm, professional letters citing the relevant bylaw sections and occasionally applicable state laws regarding harassment. It became a game of sorts. She'd find some trivial issue. I'd respond with legal precision, and the complaint would disappear. But I could tell it was eating at her that she couldn't get me to fall in line like other residents. The situation escalated when I decided to have my driveway extended to accommodate a second car. I filed all the proper paperwork with the HOA Architectural Committee and the city. Had the plans drawn up by an approved contractor and scheduled to work for a weekend when many neighbors were away at a community golf tournament. The Monday after the work was completed, Patricia showed up at my door, clipboard in hand, Pomeranian tucked under her arm like a furry football. "Mr. Jackson," she said, not bothering with pleasantries. "Your driveway extension violates Article I-9 of the bylaws. The committee never approved this?" I raised an eyebrow and leaned against my doorframe. "That's odd, because I have the approval right here, signed by the committee chair 3 weeks ago." I pulled out the paperwork from a folder I'd prepared, knowing this confrontation was inevitable. "Would you like a copy for your records, Patricia?" Her face rained, the blush creeping up from her neck to her cheeks in blotchy patterns. This must be a mistake. Jeremy would never— "Jeremy did," I interrupted gently. "Because the plans meet all guidelines. Now, is there anything else I can help you with today? I'm preparing for court tomorrow." She left in a huff, but I knew this wasn't over. Patricia wasn't used to losing, and in her mind, my presence, my success, was an affront to her position as neighborhood gatekeeper. What I didn't realize was just how far she was willing to go to put me in my place. It was late September when things truly went off the rails. I had to fly to Chicago for a major case, a class action suit against a pharmaceutical company that had been dragging on for months. The trial was expected to last 2 weeks, potentially 3 if the defense pulled, their usual delay tactics. I arranged for my house to be looked after by my cousin Malcolm, who was staying in my guest room while finishing his doctorate in engineering. Malcolm had agreed to water the plants, collect mail, and generally keep an eye on things. I had also made arrangements for my precious Lamborghini, which I normally kept in the garage. The car needed its annual service, so I'd scheduled the dealership to come pick it up the day after I left. They would service it and keep it in their climate-controlled showroom until my return. I left detailed instructions for Malcolm, including the service appointment details and a signed authorization for the dealership to take the car. What I didn't account for was that Malcolm would be called away for an emergency doctoral committee meeting the very morning the dealership was scheduled to come. He called me in Chicago after his meeting. "Hey, Dev, sorry man, but I had to rush. Out this morning?" The dealership left a message saying they couldn't make it today, but they've rescheduled for next Monday. The car's still in the driveway where you left it. I wasn't thrilled. I never liked leaving the Lamborghini outside for extended periods, but the neighborhood had security patrols, and the weather forecast showed clear skies for the next week. "No problem," I told Malcolm. "Just make sure the car cover is on tight, and it should be fine until they come on Monday." What neither of us knew was that Patricia had been watching. She'd see me leave with my suitcase, notice Malcolm's comings and goings, and most importantly, had spotted the Lamborghini sitting in the driveway under its protective cover. To her, this was an opportunity. 3 days into my Chicago trip, I received a frantic call from Malcolm. "Dev man, the car is gone." "What do you mean gone?" I asked, stepping out of a deposition preparation meeting. "I mean gone. I went to check on it this morning and it's not in the driveway. I thought maybe the dealership came early without telling us, so I called them. They said they still have the pickup scheduled for Monday." My heart sank. A stolen Lamborghini was every owner's nightmare. "Did you call the police?" I was about to, but then Mrs. Fleming from next door came over. "Dev," she says, "I've sold your car." "She what?" I nearly dropped my phone. "She says there's a bylaw that allows the HOA to remove abandoned property after 72 hours, and since the car was just sitting there covered up, she took it upon herself to have it towed and sold at auction. She showed me some paperwork, but it looked sketchy as hell to me." I was speechless, which rarely happens to me as an attorney. The audacity, the sheer illegal overreach was breathtaking. There was no such bylaw. I would know. And even if there were, a covered car in a private driveway would never qualify as abandoned property under state law. Who did she sell it to? I don't know, Malcolm said, but she was gloating about it. Dev said the car was an eyesore and that the neighborhood has standards to maintain. She actually had the nerve to give me a receipt for you, minus her administrative fee, of course. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. In that moment, I could have exploded with rage. My $400,000 car, my pride and joy, sold without my knowledge or consent by a racist neighbor with a vendetta. But instead, a strange calm washed over me, because Patricia had just made the biggest mistake of her life. Malcolm, I need you to do exactly as I say. First, don't call the police yet. Second, find the receipt and any paperwork she gave you and scan it to me immediately. Third, check if any of our neighbors have security cameras that might have captured the tow truck taking my car. Already on it, Malcolm said. The Johnsons across the street have a doorbell.